My name is Michael McGandy. I'm senior editor at Cornell University Press. I've been here for 8 years now, had a career in commercial publishing before that, based out of New York City, and was really looking for a set of lists that Cornell had, so I came up here out of New York City and joined the academic press world, and it's been a great pleasure. I mean, I got into this as a plan B. I was a PhD in philosophy, and I took a frank assessment of the job prospects in philosophy and decided that, well, I know how to read and write, so I would look into publishing. So I think I began in publishing like a lot of people, with a lot of sort of naive ideas about what people did in publishing, and thinking that my love for reading and writing was sufficient. I quickly learned in commercial publishing that it wasn't sufficient, and that market models and business and travel and signing contracts was really the core of what we did day to day. And I eventually adapted, and so now I'm here at University Press and do a lot of stuff that's about developing academic careers, about developing academic books, but always within a market context and within an economic context. So I'm thinking a little bit about what I enjoy most about my job, and it's a mix of both of those things now. I mean, part of it is that I get to work with really smart people who have great ideas but need help in doing that, and I always feel as if that work I do as an editor ties back to some degree with what I was doing when I was in academia and I was teaching, is that I was working with really smart people, these people being undergraduates in this case, and help them just realize their intelligence, realize their excellence, and move them forward. Working with authors isn't all that different, that they have a lot that they want to share. They have tremendous research, they have tremendous smarts, but they oftentimes don't know how to present it. And editors are the people who bring them out into the world, polish them up, make them just a little bit smarter, not in a sort of additive sort of it's our smarts, but actually help them realize what they have in their own work. So that's always satisfying, and that's a really wonderful thing about what I do. That, of course, is actually the minority of what I do, really working on manuscripts. A lot of it is the business side, and a lot of it is looking for contracts, looking for authors, or rather signing contracts, looking for authors. And that's something that probably when I began I didn't think that I would enjoy that much, and I really do. And that's the other thing that I would really highlight that I find most enjoyable, is I like thinking of an idea for a book. I like finding the right author. I like convincing the author that this is a book that he or she should write. Oftentimes they have no idea they want to write a book until an editor contacts them. And then leading them all the way through the process, both in terms of coming up with the concept, getting a proposal together, getting out to review, but also developing the manuscript over what oftentimes is a number of years. And that sort of entrepreneurial or even hunting aspect to the business is something that is really, really exciting and very, very satisfying. In doing that, there are challenges, and I could probably spend 30 minutes talking about the challenges of my job, but I think that one of the challenges that I would note is that every day you're coming into work and you're dealing with a number of different people, particularly authors, though, also your own colleagues, who have different interests, different desires, different understandings of what they need to do, and you need to bring them into the model of your press, whatever press it is, commercial, academic, whatever the specializations, and you've got to be able to find a way to wed their own idiosyncrasies and their own interests with what you're doing, and that's not always easy, particularly when you're working within a publishing environment where there's very little money. You can't say do it because you're going to have a large financial gain on the end. You're doing it also within a context where these processes take years to develop, and people's patience wears thin, but continue to remind them of the value of the work that's being done, both for the general reading public, but also for their careers, reminding them that there are professional standards, that there needs to be a certain reciprocity between what we give as editors and what they give as authors, and continually, I guess, working in this sense with one author as a two-part team, but also really seeing the author as part of a larger team that's at the press that includes manuscript editorial, production, marketing, sales, and that it's really a collaborative enterprise. I think authors oftentimes feel very isolated, and in that way they feel they don't want to be isolated, but they also have lots of habits that come from working in isolation, and it's hard to make them team members, so to speak, and that's something that every day there are 2 or 3 emails with someone who wants to do something that just really does not fit with what we do, and would not just cause trouble in terms of bureaucracy, but also really hurt the book. And I need to bring them back in and make sure that they're doing right for their book, right for our group, and ultimately right for themselves.
Thank you very much.